Live from the Jack and Jones Stratter Studio in beautiful CCM, it's the Dennis Daniels Show! Tonight's guest, voice acting legend Pat Fraley. And now, here is your host. He is the 2009 Bearcast Innovator of the Year Award winner, Dennis Daniels! Thank you. Yeah. Oh. Feeling good. Ha, ha, hey. All right. Settle down. You know, we're not giving out any candy, or for that matter, not giving out any one of those H1N1 vaccines. So, yeah. So, settle down. Hey. I saw you back there, man. You know, this is a big show. We cannot afford to mess it up. Because, folks, I got some banner to do here. Blah, 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 blah. Healthcare, blah, 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 blah. John and Kate, blah, 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 blah. Balloon Boy, blah, 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 blah. Obama, certificate, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I'm just excited. Boy, whew. All right, Denny, getting yourself together. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest on the Dennis Daniels Show is an accomplished voice actor, best known for his work on the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as the evil Krang, Baxter Stockman, and Casey Jones. He is an accomplished member of the Members of Voice Actor Society, and his website, patfraley.com, has all your source for all your voice acting needs, demos, and downloadables. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in giving a Dennis Daniels Show welcome to our very special guest, voice acting legend, Pat Fraley. Hey! All right, come on. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Fraley.
This is not Mr. Fraley, you punk.
This
is the evil bodiless Krang from Dimension X.
Krang? Oh, you son of a gun. How dare you? You know, you come onto this show, you know, you try taking over the world, you know, you use Shredder, that falls flat on your face, and here you go, you got me riled up.
You know, Dennis, I remember when you were a little boy sitting Indian style in front of my show with a Fruit Loop stuck to your head.
The joke's on you, Krang. You all were on before I was born. The joke's on you, pal. You are so dumb, Krang. So just there you go. So just suck it.
You know, I hated you then, but now I hate you more.
Oh, is that so? Why don't you know, you're in Dimension X, why don't you use your fancy magical powers, come down here and get a first grade Dennis Daniels smackdown?
You know, that's a big waste of time.
Oh, I'm a waste of time. But getting all these stupid things to take the Earth to Dimension X is stupid. Oh, and by the way, how many times did you get your little gooey butt handed to you by those 4 reptilians and their rat?
I'm not counting.
Because you lost count after 1, 2, skip a few, 99, 100. Yeah, you're not so tough. I beat you in Turtles in Time. You are terrible. That's T.R.
Yeah, well, your ad women's a little bad today as well.
Give me that phone. Give me that. Oh, I think I hurt myself. That's Pat Fraley.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, what do you got to say to that?
This guy is brilliant.
Oh, that was, oh my gosh. Mr. Fraley, that was more fun than a barrel of monkeys.
Yes, yeah. Well, I did it for 10 years. We did 200 shows, and it was always a delight to go in and do Ninja Turtles.
10 years. And we'll talk more about that. We'll talk more about that later on in the show.
Okay.
But first up, first, what got you interested in voice acting? I mean, you didn't just wake up one day and go, hey, you know what? I'm going to be a voice actor. Unlike me, who just woke up one day and wanted to be a DJ.
No. When I was a boy, I wanted to perform. I watched television. I watched Red Skelton and Jackie Gleason. I didn't even know what an actor was. I just said, I want to do that. Well, going through high school, you get funneled into theater. You know, years later, I get a Master of Fine Arts in Acting from Cornell. I emigrate to Australia to do Shakespeare, and I'm really not that good at it. And someone called the theater and said, we need a voice doing a Jimmy Cagney impression. Well, I went in and did that, and then, yeah, you're right. You're big at any other actors. And I went, well, this is kind of interesting. And so I was really in my mid-20s before I realized that you could get paid for your voice, not just, acting with your voice. So right after that, I came back to the States, went to L.A., and started working at Hanna-Barbera, and I've been doing character voice pretty much ever since.
Yeah, I read that you that some of your earlier work was on the Jetsons, and you made a small, a small cameo on the Scooby-Doo Goes Hollywood special. I don't know how I remember that. It was on Boomerang a couple of years ago, and I just missed it. Now I think that we need to realize that you weren't Krang before all this happened. You did a lot of smaller roles. Here, let me pull up your IMDb profile here, and just tell us a little bit about where else did you get your start? I mean, after you did the Shakespeare and Hanna-Barbera, then what happened?
Well, I started doing. I was doing cartoon Scooby-Doo villains in the late '70s, and then everything took off in the '80s with original cartoons created for the afternoons for kids, and so. Before that, it was Saturday morning. We only did 13 shows of Scooby-Doo a year. Then all of a sudden, we're doing 65 shows.
Now, was this Scooby-Doo Where Are You, or was it that spinoff, the Scooby-Doo show, where they introduced Scooby-Dum?
It was, like you say, was whatever that little pup was.
Scrappy
That was the late 70s. But then all of a sudden, when He-Man hit, it got such huge numbers that introduced all of the stuff like the New Centurions and My Little Pony and Glowworm and Smurfs and everybody, and there was a huge glut of work here, and there were only about 20 of us who could do multiple characters in a 22-and-a-half-minute show, and there were no guests in those days, so we had to do everything, and so it was quite a wild and woolly time for about a decade and a half there.
Oh, but gee, lo and behold, the fruits of the labor, we have just been given so many countless memories. All the different shows. Now, one show, I remember, this was before the Turtles, I believe. You were in Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling. Now, for those who don't know, Rockin' Wrestling, it was devised after the big Rockin' Wrestling connection in which former late and great Captain Lou Albano was appearing in all these Cyndi Lauper music videos, and Vince McMahon decided to make a quick buck off of that and bring professional wrestling into the mainstream, like on MTV, which was one was the Brawl to End It All, and which led eventually to the creation of Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, in which I do believe, according to your Internet Movie Database file, you were the voice of Hillbilly Jim.
I play Hillbilly Jim. I play sort of like that. That was when I first met my friend Brad Garrett, who you might recall.
Oh, Brad Garrett.
Raymond.
From what?
Yeah, and that was Brad's first show, and I just did his show Till Death on camera last week with Martin Mull.
Oh, yeah,
so that was about 25 years ago. Still a friend.
But still, I mean, you can find almost every episode of Rockin' Wrestling on YouTube. I want to know, did you ever get a chance to meet Hillbilly Jim?
No, I didn't. I didn't meet any of the wrestlers. Obviously, you spent like the greater portion of your youth watching wrestling, which is sad, Dennis.
I mean, that was when it was really big, back in...
That justifies it then, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I wasn't around with the big Federation years. I came more mainstream after about 2002 when it was starting to kind of descend. I will say it, I'm a big fan, but it was descending, yes, but... I mean, even out of that, I mean, and then we, hang on, let's see, where were we? Oh, yeah. And then a little bit after Rockin' Wrestling, you were in, I was talking about earlier on the show, you were in Filmation's Ghostbusters.
Yeah, the original, and I heard your description of the difference between the real and the original.
And,
So they had the name, and so they just used that to promote on the back of the real Ghostbusters in the movie, which were so much better than the series we did. Although some people, nostalgia makes things a whole lot better. Animation is so much better than it used to be. But in those days, yeah, we did the original Ghostbusters. I was the ghost buggy that I tried to affect the sound of a car, like, now, wait a minute. I'm going to tell you. So that was fun.
You were also Jake Kong Jr.
Yeah, that was the last time I played a teenager. And even then, it sounded like a teenager with a mortgage.
Geez. But still, from what I saw on YouTube, it was pretty good. I thought, and this was just after I saw it, I have been contrasting Filmation's Ghostbusters to the real Ghostbusters. What if they just brought that ape over to the real Ghostbusters, it go catching ghosts with them? I think that would have just sold the show, definitely.
Yeah, well, it's show business with the emphasis on business. That stuff doesn't happen.
Yeah, I know, I know, it was just wishful thinking, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, I mean, let's see, what else did you? Oh, you were Max Ray and the Centurions. In Bravestarr, you were the title character, Marshall Bravestarr. Jake Conlon.
Yeah, that was an interesting concept. Cows on horseback. And when I went in, Ginny McSwain was casting, and who's the best animation track recorder ever.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, Pat, this is the hero, and he's a cow, and he's on horseback. And I said, before my audition, she said, do you have any questions? I said, yeah. What do they eat? I mean, does he get off the horse and graze with his horse, or what? It was strange. They had like this chick that was a cow, but she was pretty well racked out, but she had like earrings, and they were sort of like those like identification things punched into cow ears.
Yeah,
very strange.
Yeah, it's kind of like that new Nick show Back at the Barnyard, where they have all the animals, they're walking and talking, and you're wondering what do they eat? It's like, that's weird.
Yeah, it was a very strange concept, but I've got a lot of agendas. I had 4 boys in 5 years, so I couldn't afford taste.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Beggars can't be choosers. I know. Yeah, yes. And then 1987 hits. You see a part for a show, and I don't know if you quoted this right in your exclusive Inside the Turtle Shell, for a show, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which you thought was just a pretty ludicrous idea.
Yeah, I read that when I went in for the audition, and it was so lame, I thought, gee, this will never go.
And you look at it now, it's got a big cult following. It's turning 25 years now. It's just, they're getting ready to do a crossover movie, Turtles Forever. And they've basically turned a cartoon into a living cult. I mean, T-shirts, and there's an awesome T-shirt that's sold at Hot Topic. It's I don't know if you saw it, but near the bottom of it, they have Krang. It's like a picture of Krang's exosuit, and I just thought, that was so awesome, and I would totally want to get one.
Yeah, I live in the house that Krang built.
Yeah, that's a good title for an autobiography. The house that Krang built. All right. Now, I saw this on a DVD feature, and I don't know if everyone else saw this, but would you explain how you came up with Krang's voice? Just because I thought it was hilarious the way you explained it. I think we'd all like to hear it.
Well, I was actually called in to replace the director who did Krang, and he got fired because he did so many roles, and we did it on a Saturday, which was premium to play the actors. So I went in, and Fred Wolf says, we got this evil, bodiless blob of a villain that's funny. And I went, okay. And he goes, well, what do you got? And I go, well, can I have 2 minutes? And he goes, that's all you got. So I've taught my whole career, and I thought, okay, the 6 elements of a character voice are pitch characteristic, tempo, rhythm, placement, and mouth work. What I'll do is I'll just look at these descriptive words, and I'll marry them to something I do with my voice. So first, pitch. I thought, well, I'll make him, going higher and going lower, and so he has a wide pitch variation. Then pitch characteristic. Well, I'll make him a little cottony because he's a blob. Tempo. I'll vary it so he can be very fast, and get very slow. Rhythm. I'll get
him an undulating rhythm like Katharine Hepburn because he's a blob. Placement, I'll put it way back in my throat, so he's a kind of cottony kind of thing. Mouth work, oh, he's disgusting. Well, just do as I command. Oh, well, first I said, well, I'll have him burping. And they'll never let me do that between words. I'll do them on them. So then, okay, Pat Fraley, take one. Well, how would you like to be sauteed in oil with just a touch of cilantro?
And that was it.
Yay! Yay for voices! Yay! How did you describe it? It was Katharine Hepburn meets someone in a
Ernest Borgnine in an alley for acid indigestion. Yeah.
It's funny because I don't even know who the second guy is.
Well, just put Jack Black in there, and you'll get the idea.
Oh, okay. I'll
update that for you, all you youngins.
Oh my gosh! Oh boy, that is just okay. We got a question from Martin Walters, and he wants to know, what was it like? Well, he has two questions. What was it like playing Pyro in the X-Men cartoon from the late '80s that only had one episode?
That was I think it was the pilot, maybe. And Pyro was Australian, as I recall. Mm-hmm. And I'd lived in Australia, so I knew the accent. And I can't recall too much about it, but I do remember that they let me ad-lib slipping something on the Barbie, which used to be an old a slogan for Australian tourism. Come on, Dana, we'll slip another shrimp on the Barbie. So I remember I got to slip in an audition, but I don't recall too much about it because it came and went as a pilot.
Yeah, that's terrible. You know, there are all these shows, they do so good, but they're just not appreciated by the viewing audience. And
it was only one, so yeah, the same thing happened with George Lucas's ill-fated pilot, The Defenders of Dynatron City, and I did that with Christopher Walken, Whoopi Goldberg, Sandra Bernhard. I mean, this all-star cast. George Lucas. We did one episode, and wham, never went anywhere.
You had Christopher Walken?
Yeah, he was the villain.
Gosh, I can imagine that. Like, I need to take care of those dinosaurs, but I need some more cowbell.
That's a very good one.
No, it's
very
terrible.
Good. Well, you know, it's serviceable, and I think they replaced him with Charlie Adler because he was so weird.
Yeah, just that is it. Okay, so you were on. So not only were you Krang, but you were also a bunch of other characters on the Turtles. You were Baxter Stockman, which
yes, Baxter Stockman was the scientific fly guy.
Now you see. Now I look at this and I compare. Have you seen the new version, the 2003 edition?
No.
Well, in the 2000.
Oh no, wait! I've seen some of the footage. And it looks a whole lot better than the original. I know. Well, I mean, when I know one of the directors was behind the original, who was behind the original show in the comic, was also working with 4Kids on this. Blue. Yeah. Yes. Right. And his idea of Baxter Stockman, he was this. First of all, he wasn't like that. He wasn't a fly. He was black, and he was this well-awarded, well-known genius who was kind of basically a freaking psychopath. And in the 2003 edition, April O'Neil is his assistant. But when she finds out that he's using the Mousers to steal for Shredder, he decides to, let the Mousers have a play day. And, of course, he gets away, and the Turtles stop him. And, of course, that causes him to fail, which means the Shredder decides to, go ahead and hack off a body part. The first time, it's the eye. Next time, he's in a wheelchair, and he's lost an arm. Eventually, he whittles down to nothing more than a brain in a jar with an eye. And, of course, and in the next versions, he gets a body. He's a robotic body. Then he tries to make his new body, and of course, it goes horribly awry, and but from what I see, they did follow time true to the Baxter Stockman story.
He just wanted to be human again, you know, and seriously, I saw the video last night. He just wanted to be human, and they push him into another dimension, and that's terrible. And
I'll tell you what the circumstance is, Dennis, is that the original comic was very edgy. And Peter Laird and his partner decided, well, if this is going to be for a different audience, for kids, we have to take the edge off. And then that was in the 80s when everything was kinder and gentler. Now culture's gotten darker, and so they're back to some of the original concepts that they couldn't get away with for kiddies, and B, our culture's gotten so dark that, you know, a lot of stuff is really not meant for little kids anymore.
Yeah.
So it's a different era.
Yeah. And that brings me to this question. They're doing now. Mirage Studios is planning to do this big movie, Turtles Forever. They're going to cross over the '80s Turtles with the new generation, and I know that a lot of the original characters are going to be in there. Taka, Razor, Bebop, Rocksteady. I know Krang's going to make an appearance. Have they approached you about any of this?
No, not at all.
What? They haven't?
Well, you see, you have to understand something. We were paid a premium. We were paid a lot of money to do those shows. We had a lot of residuals that came in. We were the first people that had a network, syndication, and foreign rights deal. It was never heard of before. Usually you went to network, and then after you had a package, you bounced to the independents with a syndication package. We did everything. We had the record for the most shows in a animated series ever done. It was 200. Simpsons was the first to go over that. And when they did this series later, and they had New York actors, well, we were getting paid, I don't know, it worked out about $1,500 a show or more. Mm-hmm. Well, the guys that were doing it non-union in New York were paid $100 a pop, no residuals, non-union. Wow. So different deal. And I'm a union player, and so I couldn't have participated anyway. And with regard to new stuff, you know, you never know. I mean, they might get Johnny Depp to do Krang, you know?
Oh, actually, no. Let me pull it up right now on here. I think that they're not going to be able to stick to the tried and true way that all of us TMNT fans have come to know and love. I just don't think it's. Let's see. Krang. Okay, we got cast. Where is it? I cannot find it on here. Curse you, Wikipedia. Okay, next. It has Bradford Cameron as Bradford Cameron as Krang, Bebop, and the Mirage Mike. I have no idea what Mirage Michelangelo is, but I just and that's just. I mean, they've brought. Well, I mean, they're bringing just
different. It could be a non-union deal, and I'm not familiar with those guys. Doesn't mean that they're not in LA, but I think it's New York cast.
Yeah.
So things change. That's the way it goes. I had a good ride. I don't ever look at that as being a negative. Let someone else do it. My job was to come up with an evocative, unique character voice for the character, and I was pleased that I came up with what I did. And more power to whoever gets it next time.
And that's another question I want to ask. You look at it now. You look at everything from the good days when the show was probably at the peak of its prime. They're turning 25 years old today. Can you say that you personally feel like you have left a legacy for the TMNT viewing fans?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, Dennis. I'm just very with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Tick and all the stuff that I've done. I've been very pleased that I was able to amuse kids and I never really did any rude stuff at all, and I'm very pleased about that too. And so that's been the legacy has been my blessing as far as anything that kids grew up with. Rainbow Bright, where I did Lurky, the stupid big one, which is kind of more of a girl show, a little girl show. I'm just pleased that I was given the opportunity and the talent by God to do that.
Oh yeah, I think you are just. I think you still got it. I think maybe we need Pat Fraley to make a comeback because he's been here for years, rocking the piers and putting suckers in fear.
Well, hopefully I'm still working, so hopefully it's not a comeback yet. But maybe you'll see me at a state fair wearing a shell or something.
Oh, no, you're doing all you're doing all right. Okay, geez, I've gotten so far off topic here. Martin Walters also asks that, what was it like playing Cousin It on the cartoon version of The Addams Family?
Well, that was terrific because Carol Channing, Edie McClurg, Rob Paulson, Jim Cummings, John Aston, Rip Taylor, all in the same cast in a small room at Hanna-Barbera. And I don't know if you know some of those, but if you Googled them, you'd be amazed at their careers. And it was just wonderful.
One of those was Don Messick, right?
Because, I didn't have any English to speak. It was like, wow, it's just another choir.
Sound like a broken cassette tape there.
Yeah, well, that was part of what was Cousin It, is that I'd pepper it with a couple English words, so you kind of knew what he was talking about, and then there was always somebody that would go, oh, Cousin It wants to go downtown. so I would, if my line preceded it, I'd go, right, well, now that's your town, voila.
Geez, that is...
So that was a joy to do. I loved it because of the cast. One of the things that's wonderful about living in Los Angeles, I've been able to work with the best people in the world. I mean, Jim Carrey and Lily Tomlin and Jonathan Winters and all these wonderful talents. And so people go, oh, the smog and stuff. Well, yeah, but we're all here. And it's been really cool.
Gee, you must have just a lifetime of memories and experiences that I think a lot of people who want to go into voice acting or just vocal careers, for that matter, just would like to hear.
Well, yeah, I teach. I've taught my whole career.
Yes, that's right.
I liberally tell them about working with different people when there's a lesson in it, because when I was young, I thought it was cool. It wasn't like I was trying to. The people telling me these stories were trying to show off. They were just sharing their experiences, and so it's a joy.
Yes. Now you have a website. I promised myself I would mention it. PatFraley.com, and you have free downloadable voiceover lessons.
Yes, right. So you just go to the site. You don't have to sign up. They're 8 to 10 minutes long on various aspects, doing dialects, doing characters, just different aspects of doing vocal performance, and it's just for people to enjoy.
And aside from that, you also have a CD, Greatest Cartoon Voice Tricks Ever Smuggled Out of Hollywood. A combination of how to do these, or it's an audio collection of cartoon voice tricks and techniques. And you got Mel Blanc, Jonathan Winters, Nancy Cartwright.
Yeah, I've stolen from the best.
Wow, and you're also doing like seminars, right? Because I'm looking at your schedule right now. Tomorrow you will be teaching in Los Angeles everything they expect you to know, but nobody teaches, with guest Vanessa Marshall.
Yeah, and Pat Dukes joined us. I teach events. I try to get the best casting people in. Nancy Cartwright is going to be teaching with me. And I do them in L.A. and New York, Chicago, around. And there's a teaching schedule at my site for people interested. Any more questions, Dennis?
Just two more. Now, you were privileged to work with Nintendo on Super Mario Brothers Super Baseball, and you were the voice of the Shy Guy, which is just, I think, is just one of those cool ones. The or something like that.
I don't remember that at all.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
There's some of the games that I do. We go in for a 4-hour session. They don't tell us the title of the game, and we have to sign a document. We can't talk about it. It's wrapped in secrecy, so sometimes I don't recognize the title, or even sometimes what they name my character afterwards. I do know that I worked a great long time, and I'm pleased with the product Spore.
Ooh, yeah.
Electronic Arts, because we got to do all sorts of weird, languages like. So we got to do kind of like Krang combined with Cousin It. So that was a cool project to work on. And I just been working on Dragon Age and Final Fantasy, 14 or something.
Ooh, Final Fantasy, that's a popular game.
Yeah, huge.
Now, I got one more question, and this is important. The entire world of YouTube, they want to know, how in the world do you do Krang's gargled laugh? It's like that. I can't do it.
Oh, his laugh?
Yeah,
Oh.
It sounds like you have water in your mouth, and it's.
Oh, you know what I do is when I laugh, I wiggle my tongue and move it around. I think it's like.
Yeah, it's kind of like that thing that Tom Kenny does when he wants to do the SpongeBob, like that. Da!
Yeah, a lot of times to affect that, I get hold of a little skin under my chin, around my neck area, and wiggle that as I speak or laugh or do anything like that, and then obstructing your mouth with your tongue and making some smacking sounds. The combination of that makes it kind of a gurgling, burbling thing. And Krang was such an icky character, I had to do a lot of that stuff.
But hey, it is that voice that will live on in the hearts of millions and millions of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans alike. You can check out patfraley.com for all his wonderful voiceover demos. He is touring in Los Angeles. And go over there and buy some CDs if you want to learn how to do some cool voicing. Mr. Fraley, thank you so much for being on the Dennis Daniels Show. It was a distinct honor and pleasure to talk to you, and I think that we have just learned so much about your life and about voice acting altogether.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, and I sent you some stings as Krang via Dan's email, so you got those in MP3 already.
Oh boy, man, I cannot wait to try those bad boys out. Ride her. Anyway, Mr. Fraley, thank you so much for being on the show. It was a distinct honor.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Anytime.
All right. You take care now.
Okay, you too.
Pat Fraley, ladies and gentlemen.